Easy.
The American Family Association.
On this fundamental issue, I will not yield, and Planned Parenthood will not yield.
All the odds against us. Faithfulness is the word.
My religion compels me, and I love it for it, to be against discrimination of any kind in our country.
Our rights come from nature and God, not from government.
All God asks of you is faithfulness, faithfulness, faithfulness.
Fighting for the family, standing for the church, laboring to return to a moral and biblically based culture.
This is the American Family Association at AFA Today.
And we welcome you to the belly of the news beast. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us from the studios of AFA Today in New York City. Just slightly different look if you're watching on the channel today. We've got some lighting issues worked out. But amazingly, coming to you from just the light of computer monitors in the room where we're at. And that's if you're watching on the AFA Today channel, that's as good as it gets, I guess. But we're grateful to have you with us nonetheless. We've got a lot to get to in this coming hour. And I want to take your calls, of course, on all of it. The president, I just want you to know, it's good to know that in the midst of all of the issues that we have going on, that the president always makes the time for the really important stuff. Have you noticed this? For instance, on Sunday, he, after spending Saturday giving a lecture to some college graduates and it was supposed to be a commencement speech, but he lectured instead those that might be inclined to not necessarily believe that mankind was destroying the earth by driving their SUVs. He spent several minutes in the commencement talking about why it was so important for them to correct people that might disagree with his policy on the matter of global warming. And then following that speech, he got on his plane and flew about, 25 minutes out of Los Angeles to Palm Springs, easily something that, a little Toyota Corolla could have driven in, maybe 3 hours, something like that. But just so that he could hit a little white golf ball for about 4 or 5 hours in Palm Springs, and delayed everything that was there. It's just so good to see that the priorities are in place. I was reminded of this when I heard that the president was in my city last night, because with all that's going on, setting terrorists free from Gitmo, that's always important. Making sure we bring people that have become traitors home at the risk of their fellow unit, that's always important. Watching terrorism take place all over the globe and kind of have I really can't make up my mind attitude about all of it. These are all very big issues, and I'm glad to see that the president is able to just kick back and get some downtime, because I think that if I were in his situation, my temptation would maybe be to be a workaholic in the midst of the stuff that's going on. And I think that my temptation might be, to focus a little bit, beyond the just 9 to 5. And so what I'm really grateful for is that it appears that this president is actually, he's a very balanced guy. He doesn't let anything interrupt his downtime. And for that, he's probably got greater feng shui with himself than the normal guys, and I guess that's a good example for people, right? To be at peace with one and nature and all the rest. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just making this up. Anyway, last night he was chilling in New York City, and he was kind of. I don't know if it's fair to say I think he was sounding kind of braggy. He was talking about to the crowd that he was with what a great job he's done, decimating the nuclear family in America. He was taking great pride in the fact, pride being the key word. He was taking great pride in the fact that he stood up to those gnarly old-fashioned types in the U.S. military and told them that don't ask, don't tell was done. He felt very good about himself in overturning the President Clinton policy of the domestic, what's it called? I want to make sure I say it right. The Defense of Marriage Act, the DOMA. He took a lot of pride in patting himself on the back, telling himself and the people that were in attendance, about 600 people or so, that he'd done this really great job, these really fantastic things, and he did so, with the everyday kind of common guy, the everyday kind of common man in attendance at his affair last night, the ones that paid, there were some that paid $1,200 to have dinner with the president. Yuck. Oh, wait, that was the low end. Some of them paid $32,400 to be there. Yeah, see, just normal, everyday Joe. Brent, you make that kind of money, don't you? I mean, when you and the Mrs. Brent have dinner for everybody, that's about what you charge for people to be in your presence, right? I would think somewhere, maybe not the $32,400. But somewhere in the 1,200 range, right? I'm sure that's what. What do you suppose someone like I don't know, pick somebody who's the MVP from the Stanley Cup or the Tim Duncan, the NBA Finals. Do you suppose that Tim Duncan could draw $1,200 per person that wanted to have dinner with him? I wonder sometimes if maybe the president sells himself a little short because he's so busy being the everyday guy. He's so busy, being like the rest of us normal folk. And it's clear he's got his priorities right. He's making sure that he has time for himself in the midst of all the heavy concerns of work and all the such that's whatever. He's making sure that he's maintaining the crisp, chill element that is the CEO's life in the White House, and we're glad of that. We don't want him to be too stressed out. In fact, I was thinking maybe he should get maybe a shopping spree, maybe get a little manicure while he's in town before he heads back to Washington, because once he gets there, it's just going to be all work and no play, and Michelle's going to make him eat vegetables, and it's going to be horrible. So if he can just grab a couple more little bits of fun, and who knows, maybe there's a golf course that he hasn't tried out yet. Maybe he could hit that just before going back. But does it bring comfort to your heart? I'm just curious. Does it make you feel great about the day in which America exists, that we have a chill, fly homie who is doing all that he can to make sure that he keeps his feng shui in balance and doesn't get too all ripped up about all the stuff and the tatters and the wear and the everything else that he's got to get through. $32,400 just to have dinner with arguably the worst president in United States history. I don't understand it, but somebody does, because that's what they got nearly, in a market of 20 million people, they got, 600 to show up. Just everyday folk throwing around $32,400 to have dinner. So anyway, how are you doing? Yeah, I know. It's a rough life. Okay, so here's something. We've been talking about the foreign issues a lot in the last couple of days, but I want to get to today. I want to turn the attention back to another issue that is smacking us right dab in the face right here at home, because we've got some significant problems going down, and I'm not sure that the president is really either paying attention or keeping aware of whatever that problem may be. And it's problematic that one of our patriot governors has to go on a news channel to tell the world that they don't know this. But I don't know if you saw yesterday on the Fox News Channel, Governor Perry from Texas sat down on the couch with Elizabeth and Brian and Steve, Fox and Friends. And they're just having a little chat about immigration, and they're just talking about, well, we got all these kids coming across, and it's really dangerous, and it's really terrible, and, those kids, their lives are at risk, and we got to figure out some way to be humane and compassionate towards them. And then the governor just dropped a bomb on everybody because he just, matter-of-factly then just says, well, we've got record high numbers of people other than Mexicans coming across the border. He said there are people coming across from states like Syria that have substantial connections back to, terrorist regimes and terrorist operations. So we're seeing record historic high numbers of these individuals being apprehended. Kev, how do you suppose they're doing that? How do you suppose they're getting across? If they're from, the Middle East, and they have that kind of Arabic, bronzed skin with big swarthy mustaches. How do you think they're blending in with the bronzed, swarthy Mexicans coming across? How do you suppose that's, they all got dark hair. How's that happening? There's not a lot of blondes in the Middle East. Have you noticed? Actually, friends, Border Patrol has been telling me this for the last, 12 years, since 2001, that part of the way that they've intended to penetrate our security from the very beginning was to make their way up through the immigration back roads and coming into the country illegally. Perry said, I believe in yesterday's interview, that it's about 1,000 a day that are now coming across the Texas border, and they're doing everything they can. Now, admittedly, the feds are doing precious little, and they just implemented those new guidelines we talked about last week, where they're told, if you see a confrontation coming, go run and hide behind the rock. That's officially the Obama new Border Patrol policy. If you feel there may be a confrontation with someone that you're possibly apprehending, go run behind a rock. I'm summarizing and paraphrasing a little bit in the KMC understanding of the law, but it's the basic idea. If you see a potential confrontation, go run behind the rock. But now, so the feds are doing that everywhere in the in the border states. So of course Governor Perry's like, well, shoot, that's not going to help anything. We gotta put some of our people down there. So he sent down the National Guard, the Texas State National Guard, and Texas police forces and other things. He's got actual Texans showing up to try to deal with the problem. Which, being a proud Texan myself, I'm very proud to say we were our own country for a long time, and if the federal government needs for us to be again, we could be. But not to make too light of this, the fact that there are, according to the Texas governor, record high numbers of non-Latin Americans coming across. Syria, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. He says he started warning the Obama administration in 2012 about that. 2012, is it 14, 13, 12? Oh, it's only been a couple of years. Did he expect them to listen already? He says, we flagged this issue in 2012 and have yet to even have a response, as far as I know, from not just the president, but anyone in his administration. He added, the administration is totally and absolutely either inept or making some decisions that are not in the best interest of American citizens, particularly from a public safety standpoint. Oh, and might I add that while these record numbers of people are coming across, we've done nothing to get our soldier out of Mexico? Chew on that. Coming right back. I'm Kevin McCullough. This is AFA Today on AFR Talk.